all of a sudden now they're coming out bringing out about the Skull and Bones.
Yeah. Movies on it.
They're making movies on it.
And I ain't know about Skull and Bones, you know.
None of us did,
told me, and then they came out.
None of us did.
You brother saw that movie, The Good Shepherd, right? I know you saw it, brother.
I didn't see that movie
yet. See that movie, brother.
That's a good movie, man.
Mention the Skull and Bones and everything, man.
Then you had the movie. Yep, you had the movie.
They don't mention no bones in that movie.
Yeah. Literally. Matter of fact, you had a movie called The Skulls.
Skulls, yeah.
Yeah. It was about the Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
Go on.
Verse 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked,
Go on.
from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity.
Now you look up that word insurrection, it means a rising from within. Right? Go on.
Who whet their tongue like a sword, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words.
You know what it means, who whet their tongue like a sword? Meaning their philosophy. Alright, they're trying to push their philosophy, which their main philosophy is what? So-called New World Order. Yeah. Which the New World Order is about what? Satan.
Ruling the world under Satan.
Really, the New World, you know what the New World Order is really about? Trying to bring Jake back into slavery. Trying to put us back in slavery. That's really what it's about when you check it out. Because the main enemy to the so-called New World Order is Jake. When they try to institute that so-called New World Order, guess who's the main ones going to fight against it? Our people, man.
Those that know the truth.
Right. Yeah, but not even that. Jake on the whole, because they're not gonna fall for the curfews, military curfew. What do you call it? Work program. Because this is right, separation of the family. You know how Jake is about their family. They ain't gonna fall for that. So if they resist, they got what for them? Camps and all of that, torture prisons. But like we said, when that happens, that's when things are gonna be sped up, brothers. Right?
Oh, okay.
Go on.
That they may shoot.
In those days, the Lord is gonna give us spiritual power. So we're gonna speed things up regardless. Hey, because if one brother back here gets spiritual power, it'd be like all of us got it, man. Go on.
That they may shoot in secret at the perfect, suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not.
See? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Read it again.
That they may shoot in secret at the perfect.
That they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Who's the perfect? Us. We are, man. We're the perfect. So they're shooting in secret. That's why they're in the YouTube. Now they got all this legislation being passed about YouTube. You know who they're trying to shoot at? Us. But they're trying to do it in secret. They're trying to shut down the shows. That's why they have all these different stipulations now.
They just started doing that within the last 6 months because of us. And there's a lot of things breaking down the Illuminati about Israel.
See, these elites know they can't control the internet. They can't control YouTube.
So they're going to have to control it.
Right, they're trying to find ways of controlling it, of regulating it, monitoring it.
Because see, pretty soon YouTube is only going to be used for government purposes only.
Well, that's why the internet was designed specifically for that purpose, to be used by the government, the military. But you know, greed, man. It's all about greed with these devils.
Especially when he came in that I was arguing with my dad talking about he was a good guy. I'm like, man, only good I see him do is people made money, that's it.
Yeah, it's all about making money. It's all about greed.
Overnight.
Yep.
When he was with that .com.
Yep. But the internet was specifically for the military when it first started. Go on.
Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not.
Right, and they don't fear. They're trying all that. They're passing all this legislation to slowly try to bring us back into slavery. That's what it's all about, man. And you can, if you don't believe me, you can Google those pieces of legislation. You'll find out the truth. It's designed to do one thing: take away your freedom and your liberty. Because remember, man, the so-called white man gave these people freedom, or not freedom, I'm sorry, liberty, after 1865. They passed something called the 14th Amendment. Now underneath the 14th Amendment was passed right after slavery. That was when Esau gave Jake liberty. They made him, what do you call it? They made him corporate citizens. They took him from down south. They used an old troll-looking bitch called Harriet Snubman to help deliver them up to the north. Then they made them what? Corporate citizens underneath the 14th Amendment, which we are, right, contractual slaves, which we are still to this day.
All that was emancipation proclamation.
Yeah.
That was just saying transferring one slave master to another slave master.
That's what the word emancipation means. Emancipation means to transfer you from one slave master to another slave master. And they use Harriet Snubman and others like her to do that. Because they know Jake is always going to fall in a woman, black woman. So that's how they got him.
Because check this out. Because look, back in the South, not everybody could afford a slave. They couldn't afford one.
Right.
There's some white, you couldn't afford one. So that's how the war between the states was.
Well, basically it was the bankers yanking the slaves from the poor so-called white people and delivering them up to the north. That's what it was all about.
That's how you get the Industrial Revolution.
Well, the Industrial Revolution was the factories that were being built up here in the north. They needed somebody to work them. Cheap slave labor. Jake.
Well, that's why they opened up the floodgates to Europe, to Italy, to France, or Italy and Ireland for cheap labor.
For cheap labor. And you better believe Jake was up in there. And like he mentioned, the Irish, which are Jakes, they were up in there too. The poor Sicilians, the so-called Jews, the Sicilians, they were all up in there. It was cheap slave labor. Who owned those factories up north? The international banking families. They weren't going to do the work. They got a ruling class mentality. They said, look, we're going to get some cheap slave labor.
You know, all that bullshit about we opening the floodgates of America because we want everybody to taste of this freedom with bullshit, man. They wanted cheap labor.
Cheap slave labor. That's what it's all about. Go on.
Isaiah 64:5.
That's why the Lord said, remember this, show yourselves to be men. We got to wake up and be men, man. Yeah. Paul said, when I was a child, I spake as a child, I thought as a child, I understood as a child, but when I became a man, I did what? I put away childish things. So we got to be men and understand it, man. And come out of that fucking bullshit, Lincoln freed the slaves and all that. Bedtime fairy stories, man, fairy tale stories. We gotta wake up and be men, man, and understand.
Yes, yeah, because I got this movie called Goodbye Uncle Tom, and they were supposed to have let the slaves free, but the Jesuits was selling the slaves to the white, selling them back to the white people.
Right, because they were never free. We were never free. We weren't brought. Remember this, man. Pursuant to Deuteronomy 28 chapter, we were never brought here to be free. We were brought here to serve punishment.
That's right.
The scripture says, no man shall save you or buy you. Deuteronomy 28:68. So there was no Lincoln freeing the slaves, all right? That's bullshit. What Lincoln did was he transferred the slaves from the south to be slaves up in the north. And 4 days after he did that, the bankers hired him, which we found out, wait a minute, we found out that Abraham Lincoln, guess what? His lineage goes back to the Rothschilds. His family name was Springfield. Abraham Springfield. And that's what those banking families do. They change their last names so you don't know who they are. So this guy, Abraham Lincoln, which his real name was Abraham Springfield, his line went back to the Rothschilds. And he was commissioned to do what he did. And even after he did it, he didn't do it right enough. They killed his ass. Just like John F. Kennedy. They commissioned him to do something. He didn't do it right. They got rid of him.
Wow. They spoke about the secret societies.
And that's what happens to anybody that goes against these international banking families. If you don't play ball, they get rid of you, man.
Oh, wow. Just like checking around.
Go on.
Psalm 64:5. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately.
And that's what these banking families do. Read that part again.
They encourage themselves in an evil matter.
Then you got these guys like Nathaniel 7 talking about you're not supposed to teach about the Illuminati. The scripture said, be not ignorant of any matter small or great. What the hell do you mean we're not supposed to teach about the Illuminati? What is David speaking about here? If you can't break down the Illuminati, how the hell are you going to break down Psalms, the 64th chapter?
Right, it's impossible.
It's impossible, man. That's why the Lord is going to get rid of you, Nathaniel.
You really can't break down Isaiah 47.
You can't break down Isaiah 10.
What is that? Ezekiel 28.
Yep, Prince of Tyrus.
You can't break down Daniel's the second chapter.
Daniel the second
that's
chapter.
Dealing with the Illuminati. You can't go in the book of Revelation because that's dealing with the Illuminati.